Hey there, friend. I have been inundated by parents asking me questions about potty training. So today I'm going to share some tips and strategy as well as some insights and recommendations on the very tricky topic of toileting. Let's get to it. Oh my goodness. Toilet training. Boy, I remember it like it was yesterday. Not a fun process. In my opinion, harder with boys, a little bit easier with girls. Sometimes I think boys don't want to be bothered with stopping with what they're doing, and girls don't really tend to like the mess down there. Anyhow, before we get started, I want to talk about some signs of readiness that you might see in your child that would let you know that they're ready to start the process of potty training. Let me start by saying that not all kids are going to be working in the same time frame. There are going to be some kids, as with all areas of development and skills, there are going to be some kids who are going to do it early, there are going to be some kids who do it really late, and then all the other kids are going to fall somewhere in the middle. So the key is to look for some signs of readiness. So some signs of readiness would be that your little one is perhaps pulling at their diaper, or they are showing an increased interest in other people going potty. Another sign could be that they hide when they need to go. I see that a lot during home visits where a little one will all of a sudden disappear behind the couch and we know they're working on something. Or you'll see them grunting or their faces turning red. Another thing that we would want to look for would be for them to be drier for longer periods of time, like 2 to 3 hours, being dry when they wake from naps, or conversely, being dry when they wake in the morning. Now, this is a tricky one because I'll have a lot of parents say that they want to do potty training, and when I ask if their little one is dry in the morning, they'll say no. But sometimes that's because they've had a bottle of, or a sippy cup of water that they have access to all night long. So to see if your child is able to be dry through the night, I usually suggest to parents to cut back those liquids to earlier in the evening and make sure that there's at least one diaper change before you put them to bed to see if they're waking up dry in the morning. I was told by a pediatrician a long time ago, and I don't know if this is completely accurate, but he was a pediatrician, but he said that if they're not dry in the morning, again, taking into account the latest that they had their last liquid, if they're not dry in the morning, that they're physically not ready for potty training because they're still not recognizing that sensation at night. So that's just what a pediatrician told me. Another sign of readiness would be if you have a child who's on a very regular schedule. Some kids go at the same time every single day. They've built up that kind of regularity in using the toilet. And then finally, they'll let you know when they have to go. So they come and let you know that they pooped or they peed, even if they did it too late and after the fact. So those are some signs of potential readiness for potty training. Now, next, let's talk about some of the skills that they have to be in place to be ready for potty training. So we don't often talk about this piece of potty training. We're just like, oh, well, they're pulling on their diaper, whatever, they're ready to go. But there are some skills that need to be in place. First of all, they need to have comprehension in the sense of being able to follow directions because this process is going to have a lot of different directions involved in it. So they have to have some good understanding and be able to follow at least a one-step command. They need to understand what potty means, right? So we need to make sure that there's comprehension there and that they're ready cognitively to understand the directions that we're going to be working on with them during that process. They also need to have the motor skills for doing potty training. So by that I mean they need to be able to navigate pulling their pants up and down, maybe with some help, but to be able to do some of it. They need to be able to step up onto a stool. They need to be able to maintain their balance while they climb and sit on the potty. They need to be able to hang on and have balance while they're on the potty. So we need to think about the many motor sequences that are involved with the process of using the toilet. So they have to have those motor skills in place in order to be able to successfully navigate that process. And finally, they have to be able to communicate with us, whether that be by touching their diaper when it's dirty, or by dragging you to the bathroom, or by letting you know by touching their pants that they need to go, or pointing to the bathroom. They need to be able to have some kind of ability to communicate that they've gone or that they need to go. Okay, so let's talk some specific strategies. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend to parents, and this is starting really, really, really young. The younger you can start, the better. But to really get in tune with your child's communication and what's going on with their bodies. A lot of times as parents, we can see what's going on. And that's even true as infants, right? We don't have to wait to start labeling and recognizing and pointing those things out to our kids. As a matter of fact, in my experience, the sooner we can help them understand those signals by pointing them out using simple gestures and simple words paired with them, the easier it is going to be for them to tune into those processes in their body and to be able to be better prepared for the process of potty training. So as you see your little one showing those signals, you want to be able to label it for them. So if it looks like they're hiding behind the couch because they need to poop, finding whatever word it is that you want to use, poop or number 2, or if you see them maybe needing to urinate, pointing out pee, number 1, being clear between the 2 different processes. So that will help them realize the different sensations. Like, do you feel it in your tummy? You've got to go number 2. Or do you feel it down here that you got to go number 1, so that they can get more in tune with what's going on with their body, so that they can then be better able to relate that and let you know what's going on with their body. The next step is to normalize the process amongst household members. So pointing out, ooh, I think I have to go to the bathroom, so that you're letting them know, ooh, I can feel it in my tummy. I need to go use the bathroom. Do you want to come with me? And having them be a part of that process so that they can see mom does it, dad does it, grandma does it, my daycare provider does it, so that they see that everybody does this, and letting them know where you're feeling it and using the same words that you're using when you're labeling it for them. Another way to normalize it is, of course, to read lots of books that relate to this process, and I've dropped some links down below in the description of some of my favorite books on pottying. And then finally, incorporating the theme into play, with teddy bears and baby dolls and things like that, so that they're really getting this wide and varied experience and language and normalization of this process, so that it's just something that everybody does and it's not a big deal. One other way that a creative parent that I worked with in the past helped to normalize the process and help their child understand the process was when they pointed out that they felt that they needed to go, going, ooh, I think I need to use the bathroom. It's time for me to say goodbye to my oatmeal so I have room for lunch. So they really broke it down so that their little one understood, I got to get this out because there's more coming in. Not to be too graphic. It's hard not to do that with this particular topic. But I thought that was a really neat way of really helping a child understand the process, that stuff is going to go out because more stuff comes in and more stuff's going to go out. Another strategy is to have your little one sit on the toilet 20 to 30 minutes after a meal or a snack. That's typically about how long it takes to process those foods. So you're just incorporating that into a part of a daily routine, that it's time to go sit on the potty after we have dinner, after about a half an hour. Now, a tip for doing that is, surprise, surprise, using a visual picture schedule. I love me some visual picture schedules. So I will have that video at the end of this video if you don't know what that is. But incorporating, as you do a visual picture schedule, we're going to have breakfast, then we're going to play or read some books, then we're going to go sit on the potty, then we're going to go play outside, whatever the case may be. But having that toilet icon in the visual picture schedule just be a part of the daily routine. So it's just this normal part of the process of our day. So utilizing a visual picture schedule can be very, very helpful. Now, having said that, speaking of visual picture schedules, you can also have a separate visual picture schedule that is just in the bathroom that has the sequence of events that occurs during the process. So we go in, we sit on the toilet, we stand up, we wipe, We pull our pants up, we flush, we wash our hands, and having each and every one of those, a little icon representing each in the bathroom on a chart so that they can see what they need to do next. Because the goal is ultimately to have them be more independent and to do this sequence of events with less and less support. So you can do a separate visual picture schedule for just that sequence when they're in the bathroom. Another common strategy is to do what I like to call nudie pants. This isn't for everybody, but it works well for some parents. So nudie pants is selecting a time a lot of times during the summer when the weather is warmer, where they just have their little one running around the house with nothing on their bottoms, so that when they go and they feel that discomfort, they're inclined to not like it and want to be a little bit, and likely will be a little bit more motivated to actually go sit on the toilet. So nudie pants can be a great fit for some parents, others not so much. Okay, so my favorite strategy is the potty party. And believe it or not, this one is, I believe, if I recall right, from Dr. Phil, from way back in the day. I actually used this one with my daughter, potty training with my son. Excuse my dog over here hacking. Potty training my son, not so easy. Potty training our daughter, it got easier using the potty party method. So the potty party method, why I love this is it puts a very positive spin on using the bathroom and the whole toileting process for both the kids and for the parents. So what you do is you put together a little, like we had a little Rubbermaid box with a handle and a top, and in it we put different party favors. So we had blowers, we had the New Year's Eve rattles, we had birthday hats, we had all sorts of different things in there. And every time she went and she sat on the potty, we would have a potty party. So anybody that was there would come in, put their hats on, get their blowers out. We just made up a silly little song, potty party, Haley's having a potty party, and sang that every single time she sat on the potty. So it put a nice positive spin on it. She enjoyed all of the attention, and it made the experience a positive experience for her. Now, do they necessarily go? No. Do we keep having the potty parties? Yes. It's just the whole idea of getting comfortable going into the bathroom on their own, them initiating going into the bathroom, them having the positivity and feedback from parents and loved ones. If they actually go, that's when I pull the bubbles out of the potty party box, and we get to do some bubbles as an extra celebration. So the potty party can be a wonderful way to motivate kids to be more open to the whole process of potty training. Now, having said that, if you're going to do the potty party, you better be prepared to do it frequently during the day, because they're going to run and get that box frequently because they love the attention that they're getting. But in the end, isn't it worth it to have them potty trained and to not have to buy Pampers anymore? Okay, so now we've talked some strategies. I want to talk about just some different little things. I want to call this segment This or That, because I get a lot of questions about these things from parents. So the first question is, do we keep them in diapers or pull-ups, or do we keep them put them in cloth underwear? So that is, I'm sorry, I don't have a clear answer on that. That is really a matter of personal choice for you as a parent. I will say that there, in my opinion, are some benefits of doing underwear or the cloth training diapers for young kids, because so many of these diapers have gotten so good at pulling all of that ick away from our kids that during the process of potty training, we actually want them to experience some of that ick so that they will be then more motivated to not have that ick. So it's really a personal preference. I will tell you that for me, we moved during the potty training process. We moved into regular underwear when we'd seen that the motor skills were there and all of the signs were there, with the plastic trainer pants that you could put over them. And that was really, really helpful. It was much more motivating to our kids to get those things off when they got wet or when they got a mess in it. And one tip is if they do number 2, you want to make sure that when they do number 2, that you're dropping it in the toilet and flushing it so that they can see that is where it goes. Okay, so it's really up to you whether or not you want to do diapers, pull-ups versus regular underwear. Like I said, I found that the older that they got, our kids were a little bit closer to 2.5 and 3. And I just found that using the cloth underwear with the underwear covers or the practice underwears just made it a little bit easier for them to be motivated to actually go through the process. So that's up to you which one you decide. Okay, so the next one is potty seat or child-size potty. That again, up to you and your personal preference as well as your child's preference. There are some kids who seem terrified by sitting on the bigger potty and prefer the little child-sized one, which they've come a long way with those things. And then there are some that are the opposite. Now, I will tell you again, my preference as a parent when we were going through this process was to have them actually use the big potty because I didn't want to have any issues with them being able to use potties when we were out in public, which sometimes little ones, if they're only used to the little training toilet, when they have to go sit on those big potties in the mall or at McDonald's or wherever the case may be, they get a little bit freaked out. So I kind of like the potty inserts that go in because they're nice and stable. So that's the key, is make sure that it's a good fit, that it doesn't move around. I like the ones with handles so that they can have that stability because, again, think about all the motor planning. And they have to have postural control while they're doing that. So making sure that if you're going to do the insert, that it's nice and solid, something that they can hang on to, and that they have a step that they can have their feet flat on while they're sitting there on the toilet. Okay, so the last bit is to talk about stickers, charts, and bribes. Common usages during the process of potty training. Again, as always, it's up to you as a parent to find whatever process works for you and for your kids. Some families find success, I guess, with stickers and the bribes. My experience with not just my kids, but many of the toddlers that I've worked with over the years is that after a while, the initial excitement of getting a sticker kind of wears off, or seeing a sticker on a chart wears off, or recognizing that I got one chocolate chip or a sugar-free mint after I went. After a while, they kind of get to the point where they're like, that doesn't really give me much bang for my buck. I don't know that it's really motivating. That's why I really like the Potty Party, because there's a real positive emotion paired with it, with this social interaction with you and lots of opportunities for great language. So up to you, stickers, charts, rewards, yay or nay. For me, it's a nay, but it's a personal choice. And one last note when we're thinking about stickers, charts, and rewards. What we're really trying to do, what is our overall goal? We're trying to get our kids in tune with their bodies and recognizing the processes that are going on there. We're trying to help them understand sequencing in the next steps. We're trying to help them master the needed skills, the balance, the coordination, the motor planning. We're trying to build independence. And if you think about it, it is really quite an amazing process and skill that we're working on with our little ones. So keeping the end in mind, I want them to be motivated to do those things and achieve those goals without an extrinsic reward. I want it to be an intrinsic reward, that they're motivated internally to be able to do these things and master these things, and then have the pride that they did it. Okay, a few tips before I go. Many of these are common sense, but I feel like I need to say them. There should be no pressure during this process. With young kids, one thing we know for sure is they're always trying to figure out how to have control. And if you think about it, the more you push on something, the more they typically are going to push back. So you want this process to be just real natural, and that's why starting earlier and incorporating it as a part of your daily routine can make that seem easier. It's a natural process. It's not something that my parents are doing to try to inconvenience me. It's just something that we do. So no pressure. They don't ever make them sit on the potty if they don't want to. If you say, do you want to sit on the potty, or let's go sit on the potty, and they're like, no, I don't want to. Okay, no big deal. We'll try it again next time. You do not want to pressure them because you will be in for a battle. I'm telling you. So don't even go there. No pressure during the potty training process. The second tip is obviously no punishment. Accidents are going to happen. Again, this is a highly complex skill that we're trying to help them master. So no punishment when they have those accidents. It's going to happen. All right. So we just want to be supportive and encouraging and let them know that's okay, and have them be a process of the cleanup depending on their age. The next thing is you want to make sure that during this process that you have your child wearing easy to navigate clothes. So like sweatpants, things with elastic waistlines. You don't want things that have buckles and snaps, no overalls. No onesies. You want it to be things that are going to be easy for them to be successful at navigating, pulling their pants up and down. So another tip, you want to make sure that you're doing it when you have time and energy. If you've got a really busy period going on in your life with a new job or something going on with maybe having to provide some extra care or do some extra work outside the home, probably not the best time to do this. Once you commit to the process of starting potty training, you need to stick to it, or you're going to be setting yourself up for more work down the road, okay? And then finally, you want to avoid doing potty training during big changes, okay? So if you have a trip coming up within the next month, probably not a great time if you're going to be out of town. Or if somebody's going, maybe dad's going to be away for 2 weeks for a work assignment out of the country. Probably not a great time to do it. Anytime there's change or big events, a new baby coming, that's going to disrupt the flow of the natural routine in the house. So those may not be the best time to start working on potty training. All right, so that is it with some tips and insights into potty training. I hope you found the information helpful. If you did, make sure you give the like button a boop. It helps me get my content out in front of other parents who are looking for support and resources. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I've put links down below to several books and other resources that you can find over in my Amazon store. All right, that is it for this week. Oh, and make sure if you want more tips and strategies on early childhood development and parenting, make sure you sign up for my newsletter down below and I'll send that stuff right to your inbox. All right, that is it for this time. I will see you next time.